Hello everybody, this is SeetherCord and welcome to another installment of my furry review / analysis series here on YouTube. So for today's episode of my analysis series, I'm going to be reviewing instead a TV show for once on this channel, where I'm actually going to be taking a TV show, look at what its intake on furries are, and I'm going to be reviewing it for you guys and what I think about it personally. And today's show is going to be known as Dr. Phil. So if you're unaware of exactly who Dr. Phil is a TV show hosted by a man named Dr. Phil, who basically goes and has a psychiatry-like kind of examination of people who agree to sign on and talk about their personal problems of their personal life on national television. And the show has spouted a bunch of controversy because of the fact that people go into some serious topics that they discuss in the show, be it, from anorexia, drug addiction, major health concerns, and all that such. To where a lot of people think that people are invading their privacy and personal lives when they do that. But at the end of the day, the people agreed to sign on to display this publicly. So I don't see why people should really criticize it if they agreed to go on in the first place. But that's besides the point of the video. So today, for this video, there's an episode of Dr. Phil that's pretty old, where it is basically going on a furry who's known as Colpio the Wolf, where she went on the show and she has a lot of personal problems with her mom involving her being a furry that made her onto the Dr. Phil show. And also, I want to apologize for the video quality that I did find. The only thing I could find on YouTube was of a camcorder footage for most of the TV show episode, so I do apologize for that. But now that I got that all out of the way, we can just get started with the episode. So, let's begin, shall we?
Says she discovered furries 8 years ago. Her fiance is a furry and she loves the furry lifestyle. And when we say furry, we're talking about people that are into these kind of anthropomorphic sort of images. Her mother, Lori, says furries are freaks. I disagree with that. I don't think they're freaks. It can look odd. I get that. It's a diverse group of people. Some do it just as a goof. Some have fun with it. Shauna says her mother just needs to relax about her furry fascination.
Okay, first of all, I want to clear out of the way that I appreciate how Dr. Phil just agrees, go out of the way and just disagrees with her mother and says that he doesn't instantly just say that they're freaks, and he says that's completely fine with it. So I appreciate him not being biased about it. And he's, accepting of people. And I appreciate that, especially if you're in the position of being, a psychologist and such.
My daughter Shauna is a furry. To me, she's a giant stuffed animal.
Oh my God.
I don't understand it.
Every time I try to talk to my mom about what a furry is, she just doesn't want to hear about it. I'll tell her what it is, but it goes right over her head.
It makes me very uncomfortable that she enjoys putting this costume on. It's a little freaky.
So what do you get out of this?
I get fun. I get friends.
You can't do this without putting a big giant head on?
The first video I saw on furries, I thought this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. My concerns with Shauna is she doesn't know who's under those heads.
Nobody's a criminal. Nobody's a rapist. I mean, they're awkward, but they're not rapists.
What happens if some crazy lunatic out there decides it's hunting season and decides to shoot one of these people?
Now, to clear out the way, I do know that her mom does appear to be very, very unlikable, but I do appreciate, at least even though her mom doesn't like the furry concept at all, I at least appreciate how she's still loving and caring of her daughter, and she doesn't want to see her get hurt, because, when you get into the furry community, you are putting yourself out at risk of danger in certain points.
Shauna's 20 years old. I don't believe she's ready to take off and do anything right now. She's not responsible. She's not working.
When is this going to end? I mean, when are you going to, pick up with your life and do something productive other than put a big stuffed head on top of your beautiful face?
I've always told her you're becoming the grown-up that grew down. I've mentioned to Shauna, there is no professional furry. Where do you go from here?
Okay, two things out of the way. First of all, I want to say that I appreciate that her mom is making her know you can't always put the furry fandom in front of your personal life. You have to get a start and become an adult, and you got to take care of your responsibilities that you get when you are an adult, and her daughter, Colpio, is clearly not doing that. And I appreciate her mom feeling like you need to be more responsible in that sense. And when it does come to her mom being concerned about certain people in the community that could potentially harm her herself, the creepy people, yeah, she is right. There are certain people in the furry community that are a little bit questionable and creepy, and they should be aware of that. And I appreciate, again, her mom being very protective and being very responsible and caring about her.
Well, if you think about it, we have all encountered furries. We call them mascots. You see them at basketball games and football games, big heads and costumes. But here we're talking about a lifestyle. Shauna's furry identity is a wolf named Copeo. Take a look.
Now, one thing I will give credit to Dr. Phil is that he is very accurate with what he's saying about the furry community. It is showing that the people that he himself, or even people that write the show for him, give him research, have done proper research themselves and have given accurate information, which makes it really respectable for me.
Okay, you have a problem with her doing this. Why?
Because I don't understand it. I don't understand if it's for entertainment purposes like she's told me. Why does she have to wear a head? Why can't she trust that just her beautiful self can entertain and make people smile?
Well, if she wants to do it every once in a while or something, or go to these parties or conventions where everybody's in suits or whatever, what does that hurt?
Because you don't know who's under these heads. I'm concerned that it could be somebody really creepy. You don't know. She doesn't know. She's not street smart. She grew up in Southern California. I'm from New York, by the way. And I see her as an innocent.
I know who's creepy and I know who's not, because I hear rumors. Like a rumor passes like a wildfire in the community.
Right. So if somebody dangerous gets in the community, or someone that's offensive or abusive or exploitive or some way gets in there, word spreads quick.
Definitely.
3 things to point out here. 1, I do appreciate yet again of how Dr. Phil is like saying it's okay for every once in a while if you want to be into that furry lifestyle kind of aspect. 2, I understand if her mom is a little bit overprotective of her daughter and saying she sees her as being a little too innocent, is not as street smart for certain things. And 3, I do also know that she is right, Colpio is right about how she says that rumors do spread out like wildfire in the community, which I kind of find a little bit funny because of how true that is, if you ask me, in terms of drama and such.
When Shauna attended a recent furry convention, she let our cameras follow her and meet some of her furry friends, both masked and unmasked. Take a look.
This is my 4th furry convention. Going to these conventions helps me open up to a lot more people. You're there to impress. You're meeting people from around the world. You need to be in front of the camera, acting out, looking good.
My character is Ray Fox. I'm from Canada, so this is about my 10th convention. This has been a very positive experience for me.
I would describe it like going to a mythological zoo full of weird creatures.
My name's Chris. I'm a neuroscientist. My persona is Felicienne, the fennec fox, as you can see. I'd say I've been to about a half a dozen conventions. Just made so many friends. They're all very nice people.
Now, one really cool thing I will say about this show is that they actually went to a furry convention and interviewed actual furries, which is really cool because most TV and news sources don't really do that well of a job when it comes to researching about furries, and they give it kind of a negative light. But this is probably one of the shining examples I've ever seen of TV shows giving representations of furries.
If it's a hobby, if it doesn't hurt anybody and put her in danger, then I guess I wouldn't really personally have an issue with it, and certainly professionally wouldn't have an issue with it.
This again is really cool because I appreciate how Dr. Phil's like, as long as it's not hurting anyone or causing any damage, I don't have a problem with it.
My question is, you've dropped out of high school?
Yes.
Look, and I don't care whether you're being a furry or playing video games or you go goth or whatever, you've got to learn math, get an education. I don't care if you do it with a tail on or not. I could care less about that, but you've got to prepare yourself for life, and you're not doing that.
Now, this part of the episode is what I like the most because I like how they really give her the cold hard truth about how you're 20 years old and you're still kind of acting like a child, and how just because you're a fur, you can't really use that as an excuse to explain why you're mooching off your parents still. Which, trust me, I've seen certain furries in the community, not all, but certain ones that do the exact same thing as this, and it's nice to see one of them be told about what they've been doing. And I'm not trying to say it in a mean way, it's just kind of a cold hard truth to help them better themselves.
You asked my opinion, I'm just telling you. I think, number one, you have to stand on your own 2 feet.
That's what I've been saying. I've been saying I want to get a job. The only thing that I do for work right now is drawing on commission.
Yeah, that's not a job.
Yeah, it's not a job.
Yeah, that's not a job. Unless you're doing it 40 hours a week, somebody's paying you to do it.
Yeah,
it's not a job.
Now, I feel like that part of the episode is what a lot of people in the furry community got really mad at personally. That's just what I think, because of the fact of what he said about doing art as a job or commissions as a job. Like, I'm going to be with Dr. Phil on this, to be honest with you. It can be a job, but I've honestly seen very, very, very few people be able to make a full-time living off of just art commissions or, whatever kind of commissions for the furry community. Not saying it's impossible, but for the most part, it's not going to happen for most people because simply the fact that the community's not big enough in terms of getting enough money out of people to pay, and also because of the fact that it isn't really going to make that much. And as somebody who doesn't take commissions for anything, I will say that I personally would just suggest that if you are doing art commissions or music commissions for the furry community or for any kind of area in general, just don't make it as like a side gig unless you're making extreme amounts of money, more than you even need, just because of the fact that it's not stable.
So you need to stop enabling her. I'd stop paying her cell phone. I would stop paying insurance on a car, which means she wouldn't have a car to drive. She needs to get a job. And when she gets a job, if you want to support and help by supplementing in some way, do it. But until she does that, you're just getting played, Mom.
So that pretty much wraps up the Dr. Phil episode about furries. But overall, I would say that this episode of this show is a pretty good episode for a TV show. It's pretty accurate in terms of its information on furries. It's it's unbiased. Dr. Phil's really open-minded about all of it, and I really appreciate this episode. This is probably one of the best interpretations or information sources for furries in terms of media. So yeah, definitely. Even though I've never really watched Dr. Phil, based off this one, I wouldn't really, doubt watching another episode for anything he talks about, furry or not, because he seems very legitimate. So I'm pretty much just going to wrap up this episode of my furry review/analysis series. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button to further help me out, as well as subscribe to my channel if you have not already to further help me out as well. I've been SeetherCord, and I will see you guys in another video. So, goodbye, everyone. By the way, I love Dr. Phil's mustache. Sexy.